The Rescuers! I did find that the flying montage kind of killed the flow a little bit of the movie, and it brings the energy down again with the music. I really did not like the music. It was so slow that not even them sneaking some titties helped. You heard me. Sneaking in some titties. Yeah. Titties. Swear to God, there's some titties in this movie. Yeah, welcome to the list. This is a show where we pluck out a name out of our all-time movie watch list, watch it, and review it for review and pleasure. The movie we're scratching off the list today is Disney's 1977's The Rescuers. Two mice of the Rescue Aid Society search for a little girl kidnapped by unscrupulous treasure hunters. In 1977, this was already Disney's 23rd nominated movie, and it opens up with beautiful swampy colors. You can even see the textures of the canvas, which I found very interesting. This was like a thing back in the day for old movies to have very long intros. After a quick little scene, there's like 4 minutes of song and credits and all that. That was a thing back in the day that I'm very glad that we're away with that anymore. So you're sitting there for 4 minutes listening to this theme song, and honestly, this theme song needs to be way more cheery. It's kind of like depressing. It's very depressing to me. Actually, the Carpenters were asked to do the music, but due to scheduling conflicts, they had to decline. But Karen Carpenter was actually really upset since she was a diehard Disney fan at the time. And I wish they had a chance to deliver on something different, maybe even something less depressing. Although maybe that's kind of what they were going for. They wanted you to feel like, oh, this poor little orphan girl. So in that case, they succeeded. You have Bob Newhart as Bernard and Ava Gabor as Miss Bianca, who actually previously voiced the Duchess in the Aristocats. And their voices pleasantly complement each other very nicely. I like their voices very much. But like most early Disney movies, this movie is kind of sad, man. There are a lot of sad parts. I mean, you got Penny crying because she wasn't picked at the orphanage. That's really sad for kid movies, even nowadays, especially nowadays. And I didn't understand, why wouldn't she get adopted? She's cute as hell. She's got a cute little gap tooth, and she speaks to animals. What else you want? Inside the Rescue Aid Society, we do see a Mickey watch on the wall, so that was a pretty nice touch. And after a while, we eventually meet Orville, which is what they used to get over to Penny. And actually, the first idea for Orville was actually to be a pigeon, but it was later decided to be an albatross because they're kind of clumsy looking in nature, and especially when they're taking off and landing. I did find that the flying montage kind of killed the flow a little bit of the movie, and it brings the energy down again with the music. I really did not like the music. It was so slow that not even them sneaking some titties helped. You heard me. Sneaking in some titties. Yeah. Titties. Swear to God, there's some titties in this movie. So in 1999, upon the second release of the VHS and Laserdisc, a recall for 3.4 million copies was sent out to edit out an image of a naked lady that appears for 2 frames. It was super quick that I totally missed it. I always knew that the animators were some sick foos. I mean, from in The Little Mermaid to a lady's ass in a bikini in The Lion King. I'm sure there's a bunch of nude Easter eggs scattered across Disney classic, and I think it's our duty as a society to find the ultimate hidden naked Mickey. Let's do it. Speaking of naked ladies, Madame Medusa is honestly low-key one of the most evil villains that no one mentions. When you think of Disney villains, you think of Cruella, you think of Maleficent, you think of Ursula, but Medusa's never mentioned. She's brilliantly animated, and actually Cruella was originally supposed to be the villain for the movie, but it felt wrong for this to be the sequel. Like I said, Madame Medusa's crazy. She's so cruel. She's literally shooting a shotgun at an orphan child. What are we doing? And what's probably worse than getting shot at, it was this line.
Well, if I don't get back to the orphanage, I'll never get adopted.
Adopted? What makes you think anyone would want a homely little girl like you?
Bro, this her. Well, why don't we hate her? Like, where we been? Penny freezes whenever she gazes into Madame Medusa's eyes, and this is a reference to the Greek mythology. Those who gaze into the eyes of Medusa turn into stone. And I like that touch. It makes a whole lot of sense. After this whole Gulag 1v1 situation that Madame Medusa has with Penny, does yet another song that slows down the pace yet again. Penny's just so sweet. She spends most of the movie crying, which is so sad because you feel for her, you root for her. And I think that's why I end up hating Madame Medusa so much, because she's doing this to a child, and an orphan child nonetheless. I was thinking about this the whole time. It would be kind of tough to remake this movie, but I also think this is a type of movie that Disney should be remaking. Instead of remaking their greatest hits, go back and try to give a shine to movies that have potential to be something fantastic and tweak that enough to make it great. So, I took it upon myself to do Disney's work for them. I recasted this movie. So, for Bernard, I have Nick Holt. I feel like he has a very soft and gentle voice. For Miss Bianca, I picked Nathalie Emmanuel. We can make her British because she's kind of Turkish and her accent is a little bit more thicker, but make her British. As Penny, you can just cast any child. You can even switch the race, switch the sex, doesn't matter. As long as that character is still wildly, depressingly sad, it's going to work. Rufus the cat must be played by Jeff Bridges. He has the same stash. That's perfect. For Madame Medusa, I could not get Emma Thompson out of my head. She kind of already played a Cruella type, since this character kind of heavily borrowed from Cruella, some might say, and her voice is fairly similar. For Snoops, the fatty, I didn't want to do Josh Gad just because he's a fatty. Again, you can switch his race, you can cast anybody else, but I was thinking about Hank Azaria for him. That would be a cool one. For Orville, the albatross, I was between Dan Aykroyd or John C. Reilly. One of those two, one of those cool cats, but I'm leaning towards Aykroyd. And honestly, Jim Cummings can do the rest. Like, he's fantastic still. I wouldn't want it to be live action, but I would digitize it a bit, spruce it up a bit, maybe like Chip and Dale looks, but just stay away from live action because it's not going to work. How y'all feel about that one? Yay? No? Let me know down in the comments and suggest any more castings. Do you like this movie? Any and all? Let me know down below. The film was pretty popular after release, and a spin-off series was considered 12 years later. Talks ultimately led to the sequel feature film, making it Disney's first ever animated movie to have a sequel. But the plans for the spin-off show weren't completely discarded just because of the sequel. Instead, they kept the same show concept, but instead of having Bernard and Miss Bianca, they were swapped for two other rodents, in Chip and Dale to create Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. The sequel didn't come until 1990, which I actually haven't watched the sequel, but if you want me to do that for the list, let me know with a like and also comment down anything else that I might have forgotten. We actually have done The Little Mermaid for the list, which I'll leave for you right over here, along with the whole catalog of the list. Make sure you guys head on over there and check those out. Thank you guys for watching, and remember to always and forever, you do.